This is the most genius FBI operation ANØM by Fern.
It's a quiet morning in an Australian suburb. The streets are still. The neighborhood sleeps soundly. In a few seconds, the silence will come to an abrupt end. Armed officers will storm through family homes. Flashlights will cut through the darkness, illuminating the startled faces of criminals, violently ripped from their sleep. Scenes like these will happen all across the world. A global storm is coming down on organized crime. As the sun is rising from Asia to Europe and finally to the Americas, police in 16 countries will strike. They will raid drug labs, secret warehouses, and private residences. Around 9,000 police officers will make over 800 arrests. Nearly 40 tons of drugs, along with countless weapons and millions in cash and crypto, will be seized.
What is this about?
First of a kind global operation.
Biggest investigation and operation
Biggest criminal sting ever.
Entire organized crime rings will cease to exist from one minute to the next. It will be the final act of Operation Trojan Shield. The largest sting operation ever, orchestrated by the FBI and Europol. And at the heart of it all is this phone.
Need evidence gone à ça. I mean, some people became rich, right?
This video is partially based on the book Dark Wire by Joseph Cox.
0.001% of people
an investigative journalist.
got rich.
He went deep into the criminal underworld for his research. Due to the nature of some anonymous sources, we are unable to verify all the information independently. We highly recommend checking out the book.
Okay. How criminals communicate.
I have a cargo ship with captain on side too. They want to throw over load as they leave.
When can we start?
I have a job ready as tomorrow to pick up. It's already here.
This is a real conversation between two drug traffickers, sent via an encrypted phone. Encrypted phones are very special devices. They often lack functions like camera and GPS and are designed to enable more privacy. People use these phones when they don't want to be tracked. Politicians, military, corporations, a wide range of people use privacy-focused devices. The market for these phones is massive. For obvious reasons, they're also very appealing to criminals. Encrypted phones are often modified consumer phones with additional privacy tools. Sky ECC, EncroChat, and Phantom Secure, to name a few, were big players in the crime world. Secure phones like these don't come cheap. Phantom Secure, for example, charges up to
I've seen one or two videos from this channel before, like the one video about Ted Bundy and maybe some other one. It's pretty good. I do really like the presentation, even though I'm more of a sucker when they use like real footage, when it's something that has real footage, right? But this is still very well done, obviously.
$2,000 for a 6-month subscription. This is the price you pay for absolute privacy. Some of these phones come with a very handy feature.
And it looks like the old BlackBerry.
He picked up the load, and I think he's been arrested and in need. There's a lot of evidence and shit on my BlackBerry.
AI-generated voice.
Yeah. I need that evidence gone. ASAP. One sec. But the thing is, cops can't access it, right?
It just sounds like video game voice acting.
Anyways, yeah.
If a phone is ever compromised, a remote wipe command known as kill switch can be activated. This kill switch wipes all the data from the phone, making it completely useless.
Okay.
For law enforcement, this is a nightmare. Even if police manage to seize one of these devices, all potential evidence can be destroyed, remotely. Over the past few years, law enforcement has aggressively cracked down on encrypted phone companies. One by one, companies like Phantom Secure and Sky ECC were shut down, leaving behind a massive vacuum. As in any industry, a vacuum presents an opportunity, and one man seeks to seize it.
I'm surprised there were even like official companies providing this kind of stuff. Yeah. Like on one sense, you might say, I just want an encrypted phone because I like my privacy. I'm not a criminal, but I just like my privacy, but at the same time, yeah, I guess you're automatically gonna be sus.
A rather dodgy businessman has an idea. He goes by the name Afgu. Afgu is an expert when it comes to encrypted phones, selling Phantom Secure devices to criminals. He's a bit of a geek, though not much of a coder. Previously, Afgu worked alongside one of Australia's most notorious drug traffickers, Hakan Ayek. Known as the Facebook gangster for publicly documenting his criminal lifestyle online, Hayek is deeply connected in the underworld.
He looks like a meme.
Observing the gap left by all those encrypted phone companies going down, Afku hatches a plan. He wants to launch the next big encrypted phone, ANØM. ANØM devices are essentially off-the-shelf Google Pixel phones, modified to run a custom operating system called Arcane OS. This is where it gets interesting. At first glance, it looks like any other phone. It has apps like Tinder, Netflix, and Spotify, but when you tap them, nothing happens. They're just dummies.
Everything is disabled.
ANØM phones come with several special features. One of them is pin scrambling. It randomly shuffles the numbers on the keypad, making it difficult for anyone nearby to figure out your passcode. The real magic is unlocked when you enter a different pin. When you unlock the phone this way, you only see these three apps: settings, the clock, and a calculator. The calculator works just like a normal one, but if you enter a special code,
that's cool, okay.
The heart of the device reveals itself, the ANØM messenger. It allows you to chat with an ANØM user anonymously. In case things go south, the phone also has a
Even big VPN companies like NordVPN or Casper by work together with government agencies and do monitor your activities. You're only private for anonymous trackers. Fair enough. Fair enough. I guess maybe it's stupid, but I've never really used a VPN. I thought so. At one point I tried to get NordVPN, but it wasn't working well for me. It slowed down my internet really badly, so I just gave up. And I've often felt kind of stupid for not using a VPN, because, we know it's pretty important, right? And, but at the same time, yeah, again, as you said, it doesn't actually protect you from the government or something, so might as well just, say whatever and just go for it. France has blocked a lot of sites, right? For example, I don't know, ANØM has been blocked for a long time. But if you just go to Firefox and you change some DNS setting, you can just go to it. And I haven't been arrested yet, so I guess it's fine. But now I said it in public records, so please don't arrest me. VPN is just for accessing blocked website for you. Like Reddit is blocked. Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Reddit isn't internationally illegal, yeah, right? I mean, it's just bloody Reddit. Why is it even banned, Reddit, of all things? I think it was because of porn, right? I think one of you told me that before.
Switch. ANØM will soon become a thriving tech startup for organized crime, and Afku will become its CEO. But his true plan goes far beyond that.
It's definitely.
This story is about a brilliant sting operation, but it's
Twitter
also
banned?
about privacy. How many
Is
input
YouTube
fields
banned?
have you filled in your life? Remember the account from that sketchy online store you ordered from a decade ago, or that weird form
Twitter,
about that
it
thing
is
you once cared
still
about?
accessible.
Data brokers are companies that collect your private information from the farthest corners of the internet and sell it, often to the highest bidder. That way your data can easily end up in the hands of cyber criminals. Think identity theft, fraudulent loans, and even maxed out credit cards.
And my bloody Roblox account, which they hacked recently.
Incogni forces data brokers to delete your sensitive information. All you need to do is sign up and let Incogni do the work. Their dashboard keeps you updated on which companies have removed your data. Keeping your subscription means that Incogni also makes sure that data brokers don't add your data back to their roster later. Scan this QR code or head to incogni.com/ferntv to get an exclusive 60.
I ain't gonna lie, not to shit on, the YouTuber sponsor, but every time I see this sponsor, I keep thinking that in a couple of years there's gonna be some exposed video about the fact that this sponsor, was kind of bullshit and this never worked. I cannot actually believe that, paying some company to erase all the information about me is a thing. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like this is going to be one of those that in a couple of years people will look back on, of course that was bullshit. Twitter relies on our definitely competent government, actually Jover, to manually request Twitter to block certain accounts regionally. Yeah, it just seems stupid because Reddit, again, Reddit, if you go to a specific subreddit, it's either NSFW or not. It's pretty straightforward. While on Twitter, you can go to a regular post and go to the comments, and someone is just posting someone taking backshots, and you didn't ask for it, but it was there, right? While on Reddit, it's not gonna happen. If you go to a normal subreddit, you're safe, technically. So I don't really get it. Why ban Reddit but not Twitter? I fucking try to block Google in Steam. Idiots, I remember that to this day. Also blocking people. That's a lot of stuff, I mean. Damn. I'm surprised they haven't tried just blocking the internet fully at this point.
% off your annual incognito plan with the code FERNTV.
I get this call from this lawyer who I've never heard of, and who basically said, I want to meet you tomorrow.
Scary. Dodge office.
This is Andrew Young. He works for the Department of Justice in San Diego, California. Young and his team are meeting the mysterious attorney. His client, none other than Afgu. Turns out the lawyer reached out to broker a deal. Afgu is offering his product, ANØM, to the FBI. The offer, Afgu will build the next generation of privacy phones, and law enforcement will have total access. A hidden back door. The ultimate get-out-of-jail-free card for Afgu, in case he ever needed one. His personal
get-out-of-jail-free card, but also he's probably already, like, gave the phone to a lot of criminals, so they're gonna be very mad at him. Revert it back, but like the government is full of old senile men who think the younger generation is smart enough to be Silicon Valley. Yeah. I mean, you know, government being incompetent, name a better combo, you know.
Intentions for that are not clear. Presumably,
like
there's already a lot of dirt on them. Afgu's attorney pitches the phone to the authorities like a Silicon Valley tech demo. Andrew Young and his team quickly realize this could be a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What could be more valuable than having control over thousands of devices designed for criminals?
Right.
Young and the FBI agreed to work with Afgu. But many questions remain unanswered. How should the backdoor be implemented in ANØM? And how do you get criminals to start using the phones? And there is, of course, another major problem. Without evidence of a crime, spying on phones inside the US is illegal. Young is concerned the operation might not get approved by the Department of Justice. So the FBI reaches out to Australian law enforcement instead, and they—
Which reminds me of an amazing show called The Wire. If you've never seen it, it's an incredible TV show, couple seasons from like the 2000s. And it's basically about a bunch of cops trying to wiretap like a you know, drug criminal organization. It's an incredible show. Really recommend watching The Wire.
They seem to be stoked by the idea. With the help from the Australian Federal Police, AFP, the first ANØM phones can hit the black market in Australia. The trap is set.
Damn. Well, it's gonna be a shit show.
Months go by as Afgu builds his company. The FBI remains hidden in the shadows. He hires coders from around the globe. They all work from home, completely unaware of their real employer. As CEO, Afgu collaborates closely with law enforcement. They soon manage to implement a backdoor that allows the Australian police to gather intelligence from ANØM phones. The FBI is still left out. The mechanism is straightforward. When a user sends a message to another user, that message is silently copied and redirected to a third location, controlled by the authorities. The users will not notice a thing. Now, ANØM just needs users. The strategy is to rely on word of mouth, just like any other product in the criminal underworld. Afgu starts handing out ANØM phones to Australian criminals for free. They in turn tell others of the device.
It's really ballsy
and so
with all
on
this.
and so forth. After a series of tests, the moment of truth arrives. An Australian AFP officer stares at his screen in anticipation. He can hardly believe his eyes when the first intercepting message appears. All the hard work has finally paid off. It's 2019. ANØM has several hundred users. Demand is skyrocketing, and deliveries are spreading all over the country. Drug traffickers, Italian mobsters, and bike gangs, all of them are using ANØM to discuss business. Meanwhile, the AFP is meticulously monitoring every message, gaining invaluable insights into criminal operations. But the FBI is still not allowed to read the messages. Young needs approval from higher ranks. After a lot of meetings and persuasion, he finally gets what he wants. His approach is somewhat dubious, though. Running servers with intercepted messages on US soil is prohibited, and Australia is legally not allowed to share their intelligence. The FBI needs another country to host the operation and pass on the information to them. Young reaches out to members of the EU, searching for a willing partner to help. Finally, Lithuania volunteers to host the FBI servers.
Okay.
Let's put a pin into these legal shenanigans for a moment, though. For now, Operation Trojan Shield can finally kick into high gear.
I mean, thanks Lithuania, I guess. Otherwise, I guess what would they have done? Just give up? If no one wants to take the server?
Maximilian Rivkin. His nickname is Microsoft. He has scars on his knees and fingers. His right arm shows a tattoo with 3 monkeys. Don't see, don't speak, don't listen. Microsoft runs a meth lab in Sweden and is well connected in the country's underbelly.
I believe
He uses
Microsoft is
EncryptChat
running
to
a meth lab.
communicate with his accomplices. In the summer of 2020, Microsoft receives a weird message.
The bullshit
In
of
fact, every
forcing people
EncroChat
to go
user
to 11.
receives this message at that very moment. Law enforcement in Europe is cracking down on the encrypted phone company. Microsoft is screwed and urgently needs a new, safer way to conduct his business. So he travels to Istanbul. Here he meets Hakan Ayak, the infamous Facebook gangster. Ayak is working on a
I feel like there's nothing less cool than calling yourself a Facebook gangster. I don't know if people call him that or he call himself that, but man, a Facebook gangster, I mean, damn.
expanding ANØM's
It's funny
reach
with
and sees
with
enormous
context,
potential
yeah.
in the company. The meeting leads to a new business partnership. Both men are convinced that ANØM is the future of encrypted communication for criminals. Together, they set a goal: push ANØM globally and become its biggest resellers. Back in Sweden, Microsoft wasted no time. He begins recruiting a network of people to help distribute ANØM phones across the country. With the downfall of EncroChat, ANØM grows at insane speeds. But users are skeptical. After the recent crackdown, everyone is extremely cautious. Trusting this new phone company is a huge risk. To build credibility, Microsoft tells others that ANØM's founder is on the run from the FBI. If even the FBI can't crack the platform, they all should be safe. In a fairly foolish display of trust, he even sends photos of his own Swedish ID card over ANØM to reassure his contacts. Meanwhile, law enforcement is watching the whole drama from a distance. FBI agents are analyzing all the messages, including those from Microsoft. Everything is unfolding just as planned. ANØM spreads autonomously and self-propelled within the criminal underworld. But one day, an officer
It's
reads
all
a
going
series
well.
of very concerning messages. Apparently, Microsoft is
shit.
planning to murder a former cafe owner in Stockholm. Convinced that the man owes him $800,000, Microsoft hires a hitman. In a group chat, the hitman suggests to disguise himself as a delivery driver, approach the target's door, and take him out on the spot. Microsoft loves this. At this point, the Swedish police realize the threat is about to become real. The police has no choice but to warn the target. The threat is about Microsoft.
Like, I don't know if this is actually how the message look, but if it is, it's really something. I mean, the way they're talking about killing someone, the thing we deliver to the door is great. Like your style, bro. And then the fucking killer is like using an emoji, like something we know works, bro. I mean, it's so fucked up to read them like talk like this about just killing someone. Convicted of homicide. Unfortunate.
Real. The police has no choice but to warn the target. The assassination fails. ANØM is never mentioned as a source. It's 2021. ANØM has spread at a phenomenal rate. With around 12,000 users and millions of messages sent in 45 different languages, the sheer volume of data has become overwhelming. FBI agents are sifting through countless messages from all over the world, ranging from drug deals and murder-for-hire schemes to money laundering operations, and even the occasional unsolicited pic. When lives are at risk, the police are forced to intervene.
Of course.
ANØM, however, can never be named as a source during fieldwork.
Of course, you buy your super, like, you know, ultra secure phone to just send a dick pic. Of
Or
course.
the entire operation would be exposed. The secrecy of the operation is paramount. With every new user, this problem multiplies. Eventually, the flood of intelligence becomes too much to process. At the same time, Lithuania's court order is coming to an end. Without Lithuania, where the ANØM servers are running, the FBI cannot spy on people anymore.
Well,
After 4 years, Operation Trojan Shield needs to end. But when it does, it sends shockwaves through global organized crime.
Operation Trojan Shield.
it's really one of the things where I feel like there's no winning because Mr. FBI agent in chat, like, it's like, on one hand, you know, they've got this massive network, and if they keep monitoring all the message, you know, there are so many criminals that they can apprehend. But if they start testing them, they will get wise that the phone is compromised, and then I guess it comes to an end. So you have to like wait a certain time and then decide that you have enough people to arrest, knowing that you're not gonna get everybody, knowing that, you know, this is just one, like, it might be one drop in the ocean because, again, like, there's just going to be another one, like another system for all the criminal stock, or another phone system of encryption or something. But I guess it's better to do it than not, I guess.
Biggest investigation and operation.
Biggest criminal sting ever.
Ever.
ANØM users all around the world are waking up to a nightmare. Heavily armed law enforcement enters their home, somehow fully and thoroughly aware of all their illegal dealings. Later that day, the FBI comes out publicly and reveals the secret behind ANØM.
For the first time, the FBI developed and operated its own hardened encrypted device company called ANØM.
Law enforcement agencies across the globe celebrate
It's
their
actually the FBI.
unprecedented victory.
It's one dude.
This investigation, called Operation Trojan Shield, shined a light into the shadowy industry of hardened encrypted devices.
This is a watershed moment in Australian law enforcement history.
Operation Trojan Shield results in hundreds of arrests, the dismantling of major criminal networks, and the seizure of enormous quantities of drugs, weapons, and illicit funds. The evidence seized by the police is staggering. It feels like the ultimate triumph against organized crime. It certainly is the biggest sting operation in FBI history, probably in all of history.
Yeah, I guess
But
that's
as the
pretty good.
dust settles, a harsh reality begins to emerge. This mission, hailed as a success, could potentially turn into a massive failure.
Why? Limbo.
To this day, over 27 million ANØM messages have been collected.
Is it because there's some low shit that they fucked up? Again, it seemed kind of dubious the way they were doing it. We can't have the servers here, we can't do this there. I feel like, with the weirdness of legality sometimes, is all of this just gonna lead to like, bullshit in courts where, this or this can't be admissible evidence because of this or this? That's what I'm expecting.
Based on this intelligence, over 800 arrests have been made. But experts are growing increasingly skeptical about whether ANØM's chats will be admissible in court. That's because the evidence may have been obtained through potentially illegal means. A German court has already set a precedent, ruling that ANØM chats cannot be used as evidence in trials because they could not be physically linked to the suspects. In the case of 3 drug traffickers arrested in Germany, the court only approved physical evidence for trial, dismissing the encrypted messages gathered from ANØM. In Australia, legal uncertainty has already delayed a major trial, with the court grappling over whether the data collected through ANØM's backdoor can be used to convict suspects. If courts worldwide continue to reject the ANØM chat evidence, hundreds of cases could be thrown into jeopardy. Criminals who are caught red-handed through these communications could...
I guess I could say, I don't think I would blame the court there, like there's a logic to that, obviously. A system of fairness to an extent, right? If you can't directly link the message to the person, I guess I would blame the FBI, right? I mean, they're the one who's supposed to know these kind of things. Like, do this whole ass operation, not to know that kind of law could be a problem. So they should have focused more on, like, using the message to know about, like, deals and location of actual physical evidence that they can actually use. I don't know. That's
potentially
illogical.
walk free, despite their obvious involvement in serious crimes. Other courts declared ANØM's messages as lawfully obtained. Trials will likely go through higher instances in many cases, dragging on for years. It's unclear how many ANØM users will ultimately be convicted.
Possibly fabricate indication without other supporting evidence. Though not entirely sure how plausible this is.
While official press releases praise the number of murders supposedly prevented, there's a troubling silence regarding those that were not. According to Joseph Cox, at least one assassination of a Swedish man was meticulously planned in ANØM chats and executed while authorities observed in real time. As these cases become mired in legal limbo, an uncomfortable question arises. Was Operation Trojan Shield actually worth it? If key evidence is dismissed and trials are delayed or overturned, the operation's long-term impact may be far smaller than law enforcement had hoped. And there's another dilemma here, one that affects us all. It's about privacy.
Right.
Today, almost every popular messenger is end-to-end encrypted. Preserving privacy is essential. It's a basic right. Encryption technology is not just for criminals. Journalists, human rights activists, and dissidents from authoritarian regimes rely on encrypted messaging. Privacy concerns all of us. Data abuse can affect anybody. You might instinctively want to respond that you have nothing to hide, even if that were true. What if you...
It is the very complicated internet debate, right? This whole thing. you know, some people are like, I'm willing to let go of my privacy both because I have nothing to hide, and I'd rather that, you know, the bad criminal get catched, and some other argue that no, privacy should be important even if I have nothing to hide. I don't want the government or the cops looking into my stuff, even if I'm a normal person. I definitely feel mixed about it, but I guess I'm more on the side of privacy. I think in the end, like, you know, I don't think it's quite worth it to give up, you know, the 99% of people who are like normal as privacy. Well, normal, you know what I mean? Not normal, but like, you know, not criminals, right? For like the few that would actually be catched from everybody giving up their privacy. You know what I mean? So I do look at it as like, yeah, like, don't take away the privacy. That's not
lived
good.
in a totalitarian state rather than a liberal democracy. Would that stance still hold?
Okay, very interesting. I didn't really hear about this case, and again, yeah, as you talked about, this might be like this might end up in not really doing much if so many of them will not be will not get into any trouble because of weird laws and everything. I mean, again, if you know it's the FBI, they should have known this would be probably a thing, and so actually focus on getting more physical evidence than just text messages, you know. Which again is often nowadays, like when you think, for example, of a show like To Catch a Predator, from back in the day, that's what they would do, right? So, like, I'm sure the message helped, but they would always try to get the person to actually come in person, as that was like the big thing. That was the physical evidence, like they literally showed up, you know, proving the intention said in the text messages. You know, I guess it's important to have physical proof. Very interesting video. Okay,